You know, when you're fighting for your country and you are a patriot, you will be called Islamophobic on a daily basis. It's part and parcel, as Sadiq Khan would say, of being a patriot and resisting the rise of militant Islam in our country. So this word, Islamophobic, is just another left-wing made-up word to try and silence dissent, try and silence debate on a very important topic, on a very important issue. So, but does this term actually even mean anything? So I just quickly, it took me 5 minutes to write down a quick list of the problems that I have with Islam, and we'll just go through them very quickly. First of all, Islam means submission, not peace, and the true Muslim is the one who submits to Allah and forces or converts others to do the same. That is a fact. That is the general cut and thrust of the Quran and the Hadiths. Undeniable fact. It is the duty of all Muslims to wage jihad against non-Muslims, and if in the Quran it states numerous times that Muslims who do not fight for Allah against non-Muslims are inferior to those who do wage jihad. The Quran actually describes Muslims who do not wage jihad as hypocrites. Hypocrites. That is what the Quran calls Muslims that do not wage jihad. In Islam, the world is divided into two camps. There's no neutral ground. Okay? You are either in one or you're in the other. You are either in the Dar al-Islam, translating as the House of Islam, or the Dar al-Harb, translates as the House of War. Now, what kind of religion lumps all of the non-believers of that religion in the world into a category called the House of War? And it's the duty of all Muslims to wage jihad against non-Muslims. It's the duty of the Dar al-Islam to fight the Dar al-Harb until Islam is victorious. That is a fact. Moving on. Whereas the Bible opens with the creation of the universe, Genesis, the opening pages of the Quran starts with threats of terrible punishment for anyone who rejects Islam. What kind of holy book opens with threats against those who don't believe? Well, there you go. In Islam, all Muslims are encouraged to reject anything that is not Islamic in origin, including man-made laws. Muslims are taught to believe that Islam is the perfect way of life and rulebook for the whole of humanity, and everything else is to be rejected. Okay, that is a fact. All Muslims are instructed by Allah and Muhammad to fight for the establishment of a Khilafah. Okay? Khilafah is an Islamic state. It's a caliphate. That is what the duty of all Muslims is, to bring about a Khilafah, a worldwide caliphate. And of course, we've seen the recent establishment of a caliphate in the Middle East by ISIS. But ISIS are only doing what it instructs them to do in the Quran and in the Hadiths. In Islam, a woman who is raped is the one who is punished. That's a fact. Unless she produces 4 male witnesses to prove she was the victim, she will be stoned to death, or worse, forced to marry her rapist. And that happens a lot. I see a lot of news stories on websites and in my news feeds and all the different media outlets that I visit of women who are raped in Muslim countries being forced to marry their rapist. That is a fact. The penalty for homosexuals in Islam is death. And whether you agree with it or not, homosexuality, doesn't matter. They do not ever, under any circumstances, deserve to be put to death. That's a fact. Okay? So, all the countries in the world where there exists the death penalty for being gay, they are all Islamic. All of them. Not a single one is non-Islamic. Okay? That's a fact. In Islam, a man is allowed to marry 4 wives, and they are his sovereign and absolute property, and he is allowed to use physical violence against them, according to the Quran. I've seen these verses in the Quran, where it instructs a Muslim man to first of all kick her out of your bed, and if she still doesn't comply, then you're allowed to beat her. That's a fact. Go and read it in the Quran, go and Google it. I'm not saying anything that isn't available online right now. Go and Google it, okay? In Islam, it is considered halal, or permitted, to have sex with females that have reached the age of 9, as the Prophet Muhammad did. Okay? And the Prophet Muhammad is the greatest human being that ever walked the planet. He is the one to be emulated by all Muslims. So if he had sex with a 9-year-old, that's the age that you're allowed to marry females in Muslim countries, and it's widespread throughout the Islamic world. Muslims are only allowed to eat the meat of animals sacrificed under brutal halal slaughter, where the animal's throat is sliced open and bled to death. Now, on all halal products, there is a 2.5% tax called zakat, and if you read the Quran, one of the things, there's 5 or 6 things that zakat has got to go to, okay, and some good, but one of those things is the mujahideen, okay, those engaged in jihad. That is a fact. The penalty for someone who leaves Islam and becomes either an atheist or goes to another religion is death. Now figure that one out. Imagine if you left Christianity, in Christian countries, if you left Christianity, you was put to death. Imagine that. But that's the situation in a lot of Muslim countries, and that is the situation in the Quran and the Hadiths. Okay? The Prophet Muhammad said that he was shown the Islamic hellfire and that almost all of its inhabitants were women. Okay? That's what the Prophet Muhammad said. He was shown by Allah the hellfire. Okay? And most of the inhabitants were female. Now that weaves and permeates itself all through Islamic scripture, that kind of attitude towards women. Okay? That's why females, women in Islamic countries are oppressed. Okay? After military conquests, Muhammad would dole out captured women as war prizes to his own men, and at least one case he advocated that they be raped in front of their husbands. Go and Google it, this is a fact. You know, I've written these down in the last 5 minutes before I made these videos. This is all facts from Islamic scripture, okay? Slavery is an acceptable concept and policy within Islam. Muhammad captured slaves, he sold slaves, he bought slaves as gifts of pleasure and received slaves as gifts and used slaves for work. Okay, all verifiable facts from Islamic scripture. Okay, the Quran gives Muslim men permission to beat their wives for disobedience. It plainly says that husbands are a degree above their own wives. The Hadith says that women are intellectually inferior. Go away now, don't believe me, go away, Google it, it's all facts from Islamic scripture. Okay? Under Islamic law, or Sharia law, the testimony of a woman is considered to be half that of a man. Again, another fact. Okay? In Islam, good Muslims are instructed to tell lies and deceive non-Muslims if it benefits the cause of Islam in a process called taqiyya. So when you see one of these imams from a mosque on TV saying, Islam translates as peace, it means peace. Well, no it doesn't, you lying git. It actually translates as submission. You're lying to the kuffar, you're lying to the Dalal Harb, and you're telling lies in order to further the cause of Islam. That's called taqiyya. Muhammad established a principle that non-Muslims should be fought until they are either convert to Islam or accept a state of humiliation called dhimmitude. Under Islamic subjugation, paying a tax called the jizya. Okay, and I've heard Anjem Chowdhury and a lot of Muslims over the years, a lot of them saying, we are going to reduce the kuffar in Britain, they either convert to Islam or they're going to be paying the jizya. In fact, Anjem Chowdhury actually said on camera, he was caught red-handed saying that he doesn't mind if him and his followers take benefits money off the kuffar, off the British state, because they're entitled to it, it's the jizya, okay? Go and see it. Anjem Chowdhury actually said that. We pay for it, we pay it to them because we're the Dalal Harb, we're the kuffar, we should be paying them the jizya, okay? Islam specifically describes all non-Muslims with an insulting and derogatory word called kuffar. And Islamic scripture instructs good Muslims to wage jihad against the kuffar who are destined for the hellfire. Now this video is quite long, but now I want you to go and share this video because it's important that people realise and watch a video like this that explains some of the more nastier and unacceptable elements of Islam. And you know, this is basically the foundation of the Britain First view of Islam, that it's non-Christian, it's non-Western, and it's incompatible with the Western cultures that exist in the world, in North America or in Europe. It's not welcome. This kind of thing's not welcome in our countries. So please, for heaven's sake, please go and share this video now. Let's spread the truth. Let's let everyone know You know, because this kind of stuff is never mentioned on TV or radio or in newspapers. This kind of stuff we only see through the alternative media, you know, on social media, etc., etc. So please go and share this video right now. Thank you for listening. My name is Paul Golding. God bless.